Mike Bohn here at American Top Team with Kayla Harrison, two-time Olympic champ, one-time PFL champ, about to be two-time PFL champ.
That's it. That's the whole interview. That's all I'm doing this year.
That's all that needs to be said.
That's all that needs to be said.
When do you go into the bubble?
I leave in a couple days.
Yeah. Are you just absolutely excited for that?
Thrilled. Totally thrilled. No, my mom said if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. So I'm just going to go, do work, do business. That's it.
Yeah. Keeping you safe, at least. That's fair enough.
I have, I know that that's what they're trying to do is keep us safe. I'm just going to go snap necks and cash checks. That's it. That's all I got to say. That's it.
Last time I talked to you was, mid-pandemic, and you were very bummed out the day we talked, just because I think it was when, pretty much right around the time PFL scrapped the whole season and everything.
Yeah.
You did get a fight in the interim. How much did that kind of hold you over a little bit? And I'm sure you're just chomping at the bit now.
No, it was awesome. I got to fight one time last year. I got to make my debut at 145. I got to fight under a different organization, Invicta. I was so thankful to them for allowing me the opportunity to compete. Got to throw elbows for the first time in my career. So all in all, it was a great experience. And, my goal is always just to continue to get better, to continue to climb that ladder. So to have a fight, to continue to improve was important to me. And, I'm chomping at the bit. I'm ready to go. It's been a long 2020 and already feels like a long 2021. So I'm ready. Let's go.
How did that 145 Cup feel?
It didn't. Goodbye, Richard.
We got people trolling us off camera here, just FYI.
It never stops. When you're the favorite fighter at the gym, when you're the team captain, they just they're obsessed with you. So.
Oh, we're leaving it all in, but go ahead.
ATT team captain. What were we talking about?
How did the cut to 145 feel?
It felt good, actually. I was a little nervous just because, I haven't weighed 145 pounds since I was 16. But, I was disciplined. I did it right. I didn't starve myself or anything like that. I was very professional about all of it. And I think that if I can cut to 145 in those conditions where I was quarantined by myself completely for 5 days, then I can cut to 145 in the best of conditions. So I'm excited about it. I felt great in the cage. I didn't feel any after effects or anything like that. So I'm excited for the prospect of 145 in the future.
How do you feel about the lay of the land in terms of the bracket this season, the competitors, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think PFL brought in a lot of new faces, a lot of veterans, a lot of young up-and-comers, very diverse group of women. I saw a judo player in there and, a bunch of good stuff going on there. I think that Larissa will be the toughest challenge again for sure, just based off of my intuition, but I'm excited to get to the fights and see how these other girls perform.
How many times are you going to fight Larissa by the end of the day?
Probably. I'm guessing we're going to fight 3 times in our career, but we'll see.
Yeah, very interesting. In terms of, we know, I think this is the last year on your contract, right? Do you think too much about that, or do you just kind of try to get through this and then see where things stand at the end?
Nope, it is the last year of my contract. But at this point, I'm just taking it one fight at a time, one round at a time, 1 minute at a time, one exchange at a time. My goal is to be the best, and to accomplish that, I have to focus on, what's in front of me right now, and that's Mariana Moraes.
We see how hard you work at the gym and everything. I know you said only one fight last year. What difference are we going to see in terms of your skill set in these upcoming fights?
Yeah, the tough part is, my game plan doesn't really change. I'm going to go in, try not to get hit, take you down, and, instill my will. But I feel like I've made really big improvements as a well-rounded fighter. I feel like I'm way more comfortable on my feet. I'm way more comfortable in the range and seeing punches, my defense, things like that. Now, will you guys get to see that? Will I ever showcase that? I may not have to, just be so good at what you do that it's a one-sided fight. That's the goal. I shouldn't ever have to get into a brawl or a striking fight with anyone because I'm the best grappler in the world. So we'll see. Maybe you'll see it, maybe you won't.
Is that a difficult balance? Obviously, like you said, you want to be well-rounded. You seem to have the right mindset of not I want to go in there and try my head kicks, things like that. And I know a lot of fighters have made that mistake, like wrestlers who have transitioned and everything. But to stick true to what your roots are and everything, is any part of that difficult for you?
No, it's a tale as old as time, right? And it's something that's been instilled in me from the very beginning, between the Pedros yelling at me, use your judo, to having coaches like Mike Brown and Steve Mako who are obviously more in the grappling. They're great MMA coaches, but stick more to the grappling. No, I think that I've just seen it happen so many times. And, I look at like Colby Covington, right? Like he got just a little too comfortable with his striking in the Robbie Lawler fight, and he didn't shoot a single takedown against Usman. Now I know Usman's a great grappler as well, but I mean that's your whole game plan. That's your whole thing. So I'm never going to make that mistake, and if I do, then you can come punch me or kick me in the head because that means I steered off my path. So no, I'm never going to make that mistake. I'm a grappler through and through. Look at Khabib. That's it.
Yeah, the goal is just to, in case someone eventually does one day be able to stop that takedown, you want to be ready to do everything else.
Obviously, you want to be able to mix it up. You want to be able to be a well-rounded fighter and be dangerous everywhere. And, maybe someday, they're so worried about the takedown that I do surprise them with a knockout. But it's, the goal is to take them down and beat the crap out of them. The goal is not to kick them in the head or anything like that. But I've been working on my head kicks, so we'll see.
For sure. And last thing, do you already make plans for your next $1 million, or do you not wait until the money gets deposited in the bank?
There's no plans no. Money is not what motivates me anyway, so when I do win the $1 million, it's just going to go right into investments or my kids' college fund.
Well, I was going to say, that must be an extra motivator going into the next season, the kids and everything. I know you've talked about that in some other interviews and everything. Does that give you an extra boost and extra motivation going into this?
For sure. I always used to not make fun of, but like, everyone's like, I'm fighting for my family. And I'm like, everyone's fighting for their family. Like, get a new gimmick. But it is true, it is definitely a bigger motivator than I ever would have imagined. And, more than anything, it's the legacy. I want to leave behind a good legacy for my kids. I want them to be proud of me. I want to be a strong role model for them and for other kids. And yeah, of course I want to put food on the table. Like, it's everyone's dream. The American dream is to give your kids a better life than what you had, right? So that's what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to accomplish. And it just so happens that the way to do that is to be the best in the world at what I do.